A Edinburgh Festival special for the second week. I'm joined by a man who, before the hour, was described by John Robbins as the most important thing to happen to comedy. No, political comedy. That's since Mark Thomas. Matt Ford, hello.
Hello, thank you. Welcome.
How did that feel?
Rory Bremner must be seething.
I don't know if Rory Bremner listens to XFM. And, I'd like the idea that Rory Bremner's driving along listening to Biffy Clyro. And James Acaster, who's early.
Good boy being early.
I asked you to bring a memento or object that you feel, well, not sums up the Edinburgh Festival, but how would you say it now?
Maybe just encapsulates what Edinburgh is for you.
It does for me, yeah. This is a CD of a particular band called the Red Hot Chili Pipers. They, not only does it represent some of the great punning you get at the Edinburgh Festival, but this is the CD that they play in nearly all of the tat shops up here.
Oh,
it's
yes.
Sort of blaring bagpipe music. And what they do is do bagpipe covers of... My favourite one is The Voice. Diddly, diddly, diddly. And it just reminds me of when I first came to Edinburgh. I would walk around and hear this music blaring out. It made me feel really happy.
Someone told me that on the way up to Edinburgh, you'll listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Who told you that?
I can't remember. Someone told me at the start of the festival.
Yeah, I would listen. I used to have a special Edinburgh playlist that had Girls Aloud.
Why Girls Aloud?
The first time I did Edinburgh, I had Girls Aloud like in my pre-match music or pre-gig music.
That just shows huge insight into Fordy's mind there, how he views comedy gigs.
Yeah, that's exactly how I viewed it. But then I would have
stretches.
I had the Red Hot Chili Pipers and another band called the Porridge Men, which I would listen to on the way up, just about an hour out of Edinburgh. So it'd be about like a 4.5 hour train journey. First 3.5 hours I'd have Oasis and stuff like that, just normal stuff, and then it'd get into Girls Aloud sort of halfway through, and then an hour away it'd hit the bagpipe rock, and then I'd be
Once you went past Berwick upon Tweed, the bagpipe rock was...
Yeah. And I'd get a few cans in.
Imagine you listening to that in the train. Imagine you like on top of the train, like a Bond film, listening to the Red Hot Chili Pipers just fist pumping going into Edinburgh.
They are excellent. I thoroughly recommend it. So that has always been the sound of Edinburgh for me, and it's something that I sort of romantically linked to this wonderful city.
What's the sound of Edinburgh for you, Acaster? Just like titters?
Titters and the sound of people shuffling out of my venue.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
My tongue hurts. I mean, it's not time to discuss it. Not like that, Matthew. We'll move on.
Okay.
Yeah, your face dropped then, as if to go, actually, it's serious.
I thought it was going to be some sort of Lothario activity that had led to it, but...
No, just drinking away the tears. Still joined by James Acaster.
Yeah.
Matt Ford.
Hello, mate.
Now, the topics, and our producer Neil, of course.
Good morning.
God, you sound tired.
It's hit me now, yeah.
You've only been up for a day. Edinburgh's hit me, I've been here 12 hours. Think what a month's like.
Neil came to my show last night, and he was late, because he was in a scrape. What happened, Neil?
Should we do it now? Do you want to do it now? All right, we'll do the text in a bit. But I was in a taxi going to your gig, and the taxi hit another car. So while the taxi driver got out to exchange details, I was locked in the back.
Oh, were you shouting?
Well, I was kind of conscious of time.
I like to think they were negotiating. The guy was like, I won't press charges if you just give me that guy in the back. Give me him, he's mine.
That just sounded like you had some sort of existential crisis. I was very conscious of time. Crikey, what was going on in the back of that cab?
Even more conscious of time when you sat through my show, I'm sure.
So, was the clock going up?
He went, we'll just call it a tenner for the journey, because it was about 15.
Call it nothing, mate. You crashed.
It was held captive. Sort of Terry Waite of Edinburgh, mate. You should write a book about this.
We chained to the car radio.
I'm so sorry for being late, James.
It's all right, mate. No, it sounds so serious.
Did you hear that when he was 10 minutes late, you weren't going to go in?
I wasn't going to go in, and the kind of usher guy was like, "You're not that late, just go in."
Yeah, he's a good guy, that guy. He's getting fired this morning.
Let's move on
from
this unseemly scrape. 2 topics we're talking about this morning. Number 1 is the smallest audience you've been in. Although that was the way we texted it out to people. For you and James, it should be the smallest audience you performed to. So we could tackle that one, or we can tackle places you've seen your teachers out and about.
Smallest audience, I performed to 2 people and the compere, it was his gig, and he insisted on going ahead with it. And he also insisted that banter was lazy, and that no one was allowed to banter with these two people. And we had to all go up and do it, and if we bantered, we wouldn't ever get booked at his gigs again. And at that point, for some reason, I actually wanted to get rebooked by this guy. And we all went on, performed to silence one after the other, and then as the couple left, they came over and said merci, and I realised we were performing our English stand-up to people who didn't really fully understand it, and a bit of banter would have cleared that up early doors. But yeah, we didn't know.
Oh, that's dreadful. I performed to last Edinburgh, 3 people on the first day of the festival.
Oh my word,
That
what a
was really
start.
bad. I came out, and the problem was, the first year I came here, the numbers were quite
You hadn't even had the bad reviews by that point.
So I thought, it'd be all right. I think I'll be quite busy this year. It was the second year. My numbers were all right last year. So I was like, sort of backstage psyching myself up for what I thought was going to be
But
a
you not
sellout.
checked your numbers?
No. And I sort of came out and I looked almost in disbelief. One of them was my mate, and he said, you came out and sort of looked at you, and my face dropped. I almost went, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But I had to sort of soldier on. I sort of, what's that? Went, hello, Edinburgh. And inside the whole time just thinking, I just want to cry and go home.
Oh, see? You think you've got it bad. You've been here 12 hours. You don't have to do gigs.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
And well, we are talking, one of the subjects we're talking about is seeing your teachers in unlikely places. I got deluged with tweets. Sometimes we do a topic that we don't really think is going to go anywhere, and you get more tweets than you could ever imagine. It's Claire Hale. One of my students caught me returning from holiday on a ferry with a ton of booze and duty-free fags. I don't know if that would be a positive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, amazing.
A ton, though. Yeah,
She was taping them to her body at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the sort of teacher you think, I reckon I could pull her. Oh, he's so excited.
Did you fancy your teachers?
Loads of them, yeah. No, it's the ones that all the rude boys fawn over. So there was one at our school who was really, was not just pretty for a teacher, but a very, very beautiful woman. Like all these lads would be in the playground going, yeah, set me 10 pence here. What's the matter with you? Give me your dinner money. Hi, miss. How's it going? Nice to see you, miss. Really nice today. Give me your dinner money. Amazing. See these guys just turn into pussycats.
John Britton.
Nice guy, I know him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I was trying to keep the magic going that we had listeners, mate.
Sorry. I should point out, everyone who's ever texted into this show is my personal friend.
I grew up in Holland and once saw my geography teacher coming out of this shop. I've clicked on the photo. This is exciting because we all know the key word in that sentence was Holland.
Holland and Barrett.
We normally just do 2, but I'm enjoying them. This is Chelsea 88. My chemistry teacher turned up at a body pump class I was teaching when I was 17. Awkward role reversal. As if suddenly the hunter has become the prey.
So you want a body pump, do you? Maybe you should have thought of that when you were giving me all those detentions.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
You told me yesterday, even though you're Scottish, this is the first time you've ever been to Edinburgh. Not festival, just generally.
Well, Scotland.
How many times? Born in Glasgow, raised until I was 5, then I moved to Birmingham, and then to London.
English to your very core. You said you got some Scottish facts for us that you wanted to intersperse in the show to give it an Edinburgh feel.
Well, yeah, it's because we're not doing trivia as well.
Yeah.
So, Scottish fact. Scotland, obviously, apart from being the mainland, is also home to 700 islands.
That is a good fact.
That is good.
That is a
Very
good fact.
good,
Thanks.
Have you been
Really?
to any of the islands, anyone?
I've been to Skye.
Castaway, that was nice, wasn't it?
Orkney.
Castaway was on Taransay.
On what?
Do you remember Castaway with Ben Fogle?
Oh, yeah.
The island was called Taransay.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant...
Not the Tom Hanks film.
Yeah. That is what I
That's
thought.
not filmed off the
What?
coast of Scotland.
Crikey.
He'd make friends with a
Haggis.
haggis.
Yeah, I mean, that is the go-to, isn't it? A caber. With a little face on it, carrying that around the island with him. Oh, I really regret making friends with a caber. It's so heavy.
He'd still make friends with a football, but he'd just not be able to use it very well. Hey, guys?
Yeah.
Is this thing on?
Mate,
No. Have you ever seen... We were talking about seeing a teacher out and about.
I saw a teacher that taught at my school in Nottingham who was just quite a tubby chap. He was so drunk, we saw him at a Forest game trying to climb the wall and get him for free.
Amazing.
He was absolutely battered trying to climb the wall around the back of the old Trent end. He went, "Oh, it's Mr. Such and Such." He went, "What?" And he was like, it was just no way he was doing it. His two mates were trying to give him a leg up. He was like, "That's so good, sir," and he sort of legged it. And then obviously the moment we got into school on Monday, like we couldn't wait to tell our teachers.
my word.
Wiltshire was taking our names. Like, "Oh, sir, we saw Mr. What's his flavour down at Forest." He was like, "No way!" Like, other teachers came and went, "Let me just go and get Mr. She came and was like, "Yeah, sorry."
That's brilliant.
Cornered me in the corridor at lunchtime. Went, "Mr. Ford, you've got a very big mouth, and I suggest you keep it shut." I said, "Mate, you're trying to silence me." I said,
You can't silence the truth.
Also, what kind of person would you be if you saw your own teacher trying to scale a wall to get into a forest game and you just went, "I'll keep that to myself"? Not telling that will stay firmly in the airwaves need such stories.
Josh Widdicombe, XFM.
Still joined by producer Neil,
Good morning.
James Acaster,
Yes.
Matt Ford. One of the subjects we're talking about is the smallest audience you've ever been in. James?
I think the smallest audience I've been in was 4 people watching
Yeah.
it, but it was at the Edinburgh Festival.
Yeah.
And it was there was me, a mother and her son who was about 11, and a man in a kilt.
Young to be having kids.
Broken Britain.
And then this man in a kilt with a handlebar moustache sat on the front row on his own. And
Amazing.
first on was so I was like, I can't remember her name, but she was
Why were you there?
it was raining. It was raining, and they literally flyered me out, and they went, "You can come in here and watch it." And that year, I'd do anything to get out of the rain. It was like raining constantly, so I went in there.
And that year you were camping as
I
well.
was camping that year as well. I'll tell you what, more about that later. But I sit there, and so this first act, she's halfway through like her first routine, and then she just freezes and looks at the Scottish man on the front, and he's just looking back at her, and she went, "Oh, are you? When you moved your legs, did I just see?" And he just nodded his head really slowly at her, and she went, "Oh, I saw it, didn't I?" I saw it. Oh, I saw it. And then she just kind of like, and then she'd try and carry on with her routine. Then she'd get halfway through her routine, she'd stop and go, "I'm sorry, everyone. This happened to me. I can't really." And then the man was sitting there, no shame, and just looking at her like, "Yep, that's what happens." And then the whole gig was just tarred with this, like, the fact that this man.
Did the other acts reference it?
Yeah, well, everyone was coming out like a bit like, okay, well, this, because obviously when it's a full room, if that had happened, it would have been really funny. When it's 4 of you in the audience, you are just a small group of strangers, and one of you has got their genitalia out. That's all it is at that point.
Triple XFM.
Yeah.
Josh Widdicombe, podcast, XFM.
This is XFM on a Saturday lunchtime now, and still joined by producer Neil,
Good afternoon.
James Acaster,
Hello.
Matt Ford.
Hello, mate.
How does it feel to be on another radio station?
Feels nice.
Awkward.
Oh, well, I didn't mean. I meant it in a polite way.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be anywhere, isn't it? Sort of like getting. It's just like getting. It's like playing in a friendly elsewhere, like sort of pre-season game for me.
You've got to get the hours in, haven't you? Get the hours in your legs. One of the topics we're talking about is seeing teachers in places you don't expect. As an offshoot of this, I was thinking about, because they would always wear bad clothes if you saw a teacher out and about. What did your teachers wear on Mufti Day as an offshoot?
They didn't have to wear uniform, did they? So
No, but sometimes because they'd come in suits,
Wouldn't
but
wear this,
sometimes
yeah.
they'd dress down, and it was the most embarrassing thing. We had a teacher, I can't say his name, but on his first day with the class, he said, "I'm just like you, I like the same music. I like a bit of Texas, I like the prod."
oh no!
Oh, I like a bit of Texas, I like the prod.
Brilliant.
It would have been amazing if he'd have come in dressed as crisscross with all his clothes backwards.
But on Mufti Day, he came in dressed like in a schoolboy outfit.
No, like AC/DC.
Well, no. But like with a cap, like a kind of schoolboy from the Beano.
Amazing.
A teacher come in, a male teacher came in dressed as Little Bo Peep on Mufti Day in the full outfit with like a wig. He had really long black hair, but he tied it up and then put this blonde wig on top of it with like big pigtails coming out of it. And then he did the assembly that day, And during it, like, was saying about, do you like my lovely blonde hair? And everyone was going, well, it's not really your hair, it's a wig. And he went, oh, pull it off, go for it, pull the wig off. And then someone did, and he'd shaved his head completely, so it was a cue ball. And then he ran round the assembly hall screaming in our faces that his hair had fallen out.
What is that story?
Sounds horrible.
Absolute legend.
That's so bizarre.
On his last day, when he left the school, on his final day, he just didn't show up, and he didn't tell them. And it was through the whole day into bedlam of having to get teachers to cover him. I really look up to him.
I've sidetracked us. Let's be honest. It was my own fault. I admit it. Let's play placebo, and then we'll get back on topic.
The Plas.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
We're talking this morning about seeing your teachers in unlikely places. Martin Fern. Oh, that's your brother.
That is my brother.
He's texted in.
Has he?
It really now looks like we've got no listeners, so we'll ignore him. Nicola Marie Lucas. I saw my teacher at V Festival in Leeds, had to hide behind a tree. First thing, Nicola, V Festival isn't in Leeds.
Stafford. She's misunderstood. Like, teachers do not have jurisdiction at V Festival. It's beyond them. Like, you're fine there. You can do whatever you like.
She brought in a plastic bottle of whiskey from the camping site onto the main site.
Both dancing to the prod together.
Oh my God, where are the trees? I need to get behind a tree.
It's me and a teacher.
It must be, if you go to things as a teacher, it must be constant fear.
Yeah, what if you're drunk and you... I mean, teachers still go on the pool, don't they? I mean, we saw a teacher once, I can't go into too much detail, but we saw a female teacher in a nightclub in Nottingham. We just stood there transfixed around this sort of, it was in one of the alcoves around the dance floor. There's a lot of grubby nightclubs in Nottingham, but that was just marvellous. And her authority after that just ebbed away. She really was a late
She lost the
ducking
dressing room at that point.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
It now comes to the time which has been described by many people, including producer Neil, as the best bit of the show.
Oh, no pressure there. Then it was
Classic scrape.
my first Edinburgh. I didn't know that the Edinburgh Festival was even a big deal for comedians at the time. I'd started doing stand-up, and no one had told me that Edinburgh was the place. And so, like, a week before Edinburgh, all of my friends were, like you, who were like researched into comedy before doing it. We're going, well, we're going to Edinburgh now. I was like, where are you guys going? And suddenly all my mates, I was like, oh, maybe I should have gone to that thing everyone's just left for. And I worked in the kitchen at the time, and a woman who worked there said, oh, well, I've just cut this coupon out of the newspaper. £2 megabus ticket.
Wow.
So, you can have it if you want. So, yeah, and she gave me this thing, and I didn't have anywhere to stay. So I left it to the last minute.
Nice.
So I borrowed a tent from my friend. Got the 12-hour bus journey to Edinburgh. Where, by the way, on the journey, I was sat next to two Canadian girls, very pretty. I was really getting on with them until we got into Scotland, and I saw the sea. And I went, oh, look, it's the sea. And they both turned around and looked back at me and shrugged their shoulders, and I thought, forget it. If you don't care about seeing the sea, you can absolutely jog on. I am not having anything to do with you. Enjoy your festival. So I got to Edinburgh, and I went to this campsite was like about a 15-minute bus journey from the centre from the actual festival. Set my tent up in a field that was in a bowl shape.
Oh,
bowl-shaped field.
Think it through.
But it was the only.
I had a great phone reception.
But by the way, I'd like to point out I didn't have any other options. It's quite a month, and
You went for a whole month?
well, I was there for the first 2 weeks. That's all I was there for. 2 weeks, and it rained. First night, flooded, just absolutely flooded. All of my belongings, everything, just flooded the whole tent. I bought a towel, a second towel, and laid it down that night to sleep on, so that I was at least be dry for a bit.
Oh, mate.
And then obviously wake up in the morning and it's soaking wet again.
Oh my word, that's the bleakest scrape of all time.
Yeah. So 2 weeks of that, and from there I didn't go home from Edinburgh. I went to the Green Man Festival, where I had been booked to do stand-up also. So I went from rainy Scotland for 2 weeks in a tent to a festival in Wales, where I would be camping in a tent. The rain was worse there, so I get up. I've got to unpack my tent, which is already soaking wet,
My word.
and pack it up and set it up at Green Man. What the point of that was, I don't know. Did my gig, which was on a pallet in a field, not even in a tent, just out in the open, chucking it down with rain. Came off. I wanted to get out of the rain, so I went to the tea and cake tent, bought a slice of chocolate cake and a cup of tea, sat down in one of their chairs and deliberately fell asleep because I didn't want to be awake anymore.
Oh my
James,
word!
James.
And then I woke up a few hours later and there was some folk singer on at the main stage. Everyone was really dancing, and I woke up, there's a lady in front of me, a middle-aged woman with ribbons in her hair and ribbons hanging off of her arms. She went, "Hey, you enjoy your sleep?" And I just went, "It was better than staying awake and being confronted by the reality that surrounded me right now." And I just ruined everyone's good time in the tent. All of them just kind of stopped dancing. And they just
That was the one bit that everyone heard.
yeah. All I heard was me. Yeah, at my gig, they heard me saying, "I hate this festival. I hate my life." I just ruined everyone's good time.
Oh my word! Right, that sums up what the Edinburgh Festival's like for.
It wears away at a man's soul until he depresses a bunch of people at a completely different festival.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Franz Ferdinand, final Scottish band of the 2 Edinburgh specials. Is that correct, Neil?
That is correct, yeah.
He came to one of my Edinburgh shows.
Did he?
Lovely man. He came up to me afterwards. He was a very nervous man, just like giggling like a little girl, but in a
Did
nice
you enjoy your
way.
stuff?
I think he did. I mean, he basically came up to me because I'd pointed him. I was the only comic on the bill who pointed him out. Everyone else was like, well, obviously don't mention him. And I just went, he's from Franz Ferdinand.
Right, now, thank you for coming in, Matt.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Would you like to plug your show?
Yes, please. It's called The Political Party, but it's not boring politics. It's
No, it's brilliant. I've seen it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Cheers, mate. It's about celebrating people like Nigel Farage and interesting people.
Yeah,
It's a sort of silly
not
politics.
just celebrating people on the right.
No. And there's a lot of impressions in there, and it's mucking about with politics. Really, it's not preachy, but it's good fun, and it's every day at the Pleasantstone.
And James?
7 o'clock, Pleasance Courtyard. The show is called Lawnmower, and no scrapes. Should probably point that out.
I have to say, after the first 15 minutes, which I didn't see, it was very good.
Yeah. Neil missed that first 15, but
The first 15 is dreadful, though.
yeah.
I said, Neil, just pretend you're
Turn
15
up
minutes
late.
late. And your Twitter?
At Matt Ford, MATTFORDE.
At James Acaster, I can't do it.